Welcome aboard the USS Lexington Museum on the Bay. Lexington is a Essex-class aircraft carrier built in World War II in 1943 to win the war in the Pacific. There were 24 Essex-class aircraft carriers built, and all of them that were commissioned during the war went to the Pacific because of the vast distances and the requirement for close air support to take back the islands as part of the strategy to win back the war in the Pacific. The first battle Lexington fought was Tarawa, and the last battle was Tokyo into Tokyo Bay. Lexington was actually the first aircraft carrier, first Essex-class aircraft carrier into Tokyo Bay when the war ended. So the crew adopted the model, Tarawa to Tokyo, marking the first battle she fought at Tarawa and then the final entry into Tokyo Bay at the war's end. Lexington is focused on World War II, although she was in existence as an aircraft carrier from 1943 till she was decommissioned in 1991 and ended up in Corpus Christi as a museum and a memorial to those who fought the war and those who continue to serve in our United States Navy and our armed services. Behind me you can see the World War II aircraft, and we have 19 total aircraft on board, focused on all the eras of naval aviation, including up to including the F-18 Tomcat, which was just recently taken out of service. The World War II aircraft are maintained in the hangar bay in order to preserve them and not expose them to the elements of the flight deck, which the conditions can be very harsh. When you come aboard USS Lexington, you'll actually be walking across an operational aircraft elevator, and you'll be entering into a hangar bay. The hangar bay is where most of the major maintenance was done during the war and after the war. This is where you could take airplanes down and take major engine repairs or major structural repairs. There's 5 different tour routes. They all start and stop on this hangar bay, and we made it simple as possible. There's tour guides, and all tours are self-guided, and we correspond the tour routes with different colors. So if, for instance, you want to take tour route 1, you follow the yellow signs, take tour route 1, you'll start tour route 1 on the hangar bay, it goes up to the flight deck, and when you come off the flight deck, you'll come right back to this hangar bay, and you can start subsequent tours. Because of its significance to the history of the United States, Lexington was designated as a National Historic Landmark. As such, when you come here, you will see restoration work being carried out throughout the ship. Not only do we have to restore the ship, but also the artifacts. One of our most famous artifacts stands behind me is the SBD Dauntless, the airplane that won the Battle of Midway and was responsible for sinking 4 Japanese aircraft carriers. This particular SBD crashed into Lake Michigan in 1943 during carrier training, was pulled out of Lake Michigan, and then came to Lexington. She is currently being restored, and we hope in the near future that you'll be able to see how she looked during World War II. One of the things that makes Lexington different from most museums is the fact that in most museums you go into the museum and look at the artifacts inside. Lexington itself is the exhibit because the primary artifact is Lexington. And so as such, we try to keep the ship as much of a ship as possible so people can get the idea of what the ship actually looked like, while they also look at interesting things within the ship. So unlike a building, the museum is actually the artifact itself.